Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Grieves of the Digital Twin Institute, and I'm going to talk to you briefly about driving 21st century value with digital twins. Today's topics that I'm going to cover very briefly are: what are digital twins? How do digital twins create value in today's organizations? And what are the impediments to digital twins? This is the digital twin model that exists today and really doesn't differ too much from the original model I introduced in 2002. It has three major components to it. On the left side is physical space that we've had since time immemorial, and physical products. So this is a physical environment that we operate in, and these are the physical products that we create. And historically, as soon as we've pretty much had an idea, we've had to reduce it to physical form, either drawings, blueprints, prototypes, and so we have lived pretty much in a physical world. On the left side is this new virtual space and digital twins that we are now able to create in a digital format because of the advances in computer technology. And they basically are the representation of what we have done in the physical space since humans have been in existence. The third aspect is the connection between the two spaces. And what we want to do is to have data come from the physical space and populate the virtual space. And what we need is, in essence, the idea of information that we're going to use back over in the left side in the physical space. And so these three components, physical environment and physical products, virtual environment and virtual products, and then the connections between the two spaces are what we were dealing with today. And the reason we want to do that is that we want to move work activity from the physical space to the virtual space. And so 20th century and before, we pretty much were confined to the physical space. We now have this ability to use virtual space. And why we want to do that is we have the ability of substituting information for wasted physical resources. Not for the resources we do need to do to complete the task, but for the wasted resources over and above the minimum amount of resources that we need to physically create the product, manufacture the product, support the product, and finally dispose of the product. The digital twin is intended to be in the entire life cycle of the product. And as you can see from the little diagram below, as we move to a product-centric perspective and away from a silo perspective of products, we want to have the digital twin encompass the entire life cycle. So this means we need different types of digital twins depending on where we are in the life cycle itself. Initially, we have what I call the prototypical digital twin, or the digital twin prototype, and as you can see from the diagram, it takes place from a vague idea to the formulation of a specific product that we are going to manufacture and bring to market for people to use. And so this digital twin prototype are all the products that can be made. So it is the product and its variants that we're going to make, and we basically need to have all the information about the product itself, and in essence, how the product is going to be manufactured and supported, so the means of production of that particular product. This is a generic version, and it has specifications with tolerances. When we go to make the product itself, we get what we call a digital twin instance, and this is of complex products. This F-35 needs a digital twin, a paperclip doesn't. And so for complex products, what rolls off the assembly line, we want to have specific information about how that product was manufactured. It no longer has tolerances. It has a specific number of what we have made. And so these are all the products that we can make. And so these are the products that are made, and we want to make sure that we capture that information. When we go to put these products into use, we now can aggregate all these particular products so we can do such things as prognostication of product performance. And so we move from periodic maintenance to maintenance based on actual performance-based maintenance. And these are all the products that have been made. And quite frankly, this is one of the major opportunities for the digital twin, is this idea of collecting all this information on products that have actually been made. Now, it relies on information from the digital twin instance, and clearly the information from how the products can be made are part of this. So how do digital twins create value in today's organization? And this can be illustrated by this simple graphic that information is a substitute for task wasted, time, energy, and material. Most of human existence is about goal-seeking activity that we're trying to accomplish using minimal amount of physical resources. So if I look over on the left side, this classically how we've done it is the idea that for any particular task, I can divide it up into two pieces. The most efficient use of physical resources, which is green, and everything above that, which is red, is what I call information inefficiencies or wasted time, energy, and material. On the right side is this idea that information is a replacement, not for the physical resources I need to do the task, but for the information inefficiencies. I'm showing the ideal situation here, but even if I can reduce some or a substantial amount of the information inefficiencies, there's real value. When this works is that the cost of the information, because information is not free, is going to be less than the cost of wasted time, energy, and material. And because information can be reused over and over again while physical resources can't. This is why this is a real opportunity to use information in digital twins for being much more effective and efficient in today's organizations. How do organizations measure value, and how does the digital twin impact that? And value in an organization is measured by the change in income, and ideally the increase in income, over the assets deployed to get that income. But income can only be affected by two things, revenue and cost. On the cost side, we have our different departments, but it pretty much just boils down to the material cost and the people's cost, and their costs are developed by their time and rate. And no matter who you are in the organization, that pretty much is the factor of how you, in essence, value the people. On the revenue side, it's dependent on the price of your product and the quantity of your product. And the price of your product is pretty much a function of the number of things that your product can do and the quality of your product. Below a certain amount of quality, you're not going to sell any, and above a certain amount of quality, it's going to cost too much. And from a function standpoint, in the digital twin, we have the ability of selling both products and selling information of those products. We usually have to justify investments on the basis of cost reduction. But the promise is in increasing revenues, and our focus ought to be on both those particular things. So digital twin value creation is divided into two aspects. One is the internal use of this information from the digital twin, and the second is the external use of that. And the internal use, the ability is to have an impact on cost and innovation. Cost reduction is in productivity and time to market. So it's time, energy, and material, but the time is not only the cost of the amount of time people are spending, but in essence saving clock time in terms of getting to market faster. A lot of companies fail, and not that their product isn't good, but they weren't the first to market to do that. We also can use it for innovation increases because we can reallocate resources from times we spend on wasted resources and reallocate that to looking at innovation. On the external use, we can look at revenue increase, and this is what we sell to customers. We do it indirectly by reducing our costs of the product or increasing the quality, and we can do it directly because now information can be a product in and of itself, and we can sell to customers such things as information about how their product is performing and when the product is going to have problems so they can fix it and avoid downtime. So these are two big digital twin value creation areas that we are seeing today impacting how organizations value digital twins. The digital twin has the major opportunity of changing the profitability curve of today's organizations. If I look at profit over time, I wind up with some classic curves in terms of the profitability of organizations. The lower line, or the classic product curve, is this idea that we lose money as we're developing the product until we get to product launch and can sell some of it. We have what is effectively a Gaussian curve, although products will differ and differ greatly in terms of adoption to major selling to, in essence, the end of their life cycle. But when I stop selling those products, I actually decrease my profit because I still have warranty costs and product liability costs and other costs having to do with supporting the product after I finish selling it. The top curve is this new digital twin product curve, and there's a couple things about that is I can basically decrease the amount of loss by getting to market quicker. So in product launch, the digital twin launches faster than the classic product curve. I can sell more of the product because I can increase the quality and the ability, but at product sunset, I continue to be able to make money by selling the information from that product. Apple phones is probably a great example of that, is that Apple still sells songs and applications on their product long after they've stopped selling a particular product model. So this is a major impact that the digital twin can have on profitability curves of today's organizations. So what are the digital twin impediments that we're facing? Because no major changes ever occur without impediments and roadblocks that get in the way of implementation, even of great ideas. And the first is what I call executive education understanding. The people who are making the decisions about investment have not grown up in the digital environment, and so sometimes lack significant understanding of what are the opportunities and investments that are needed. I'm working with a few organizations in developing this, but this is a major impediment to getting the necessary investments. Hype potential. So the counter side of that is hyping too much and proposing projects that are not necessary, don't create value, and overstate the capability of digital twins. And so what we need to do is to be able to propose projects that are realizable and we can show value to them rather than boil the ocean project that says, give me a couple $100 million and I'll give you a full digital twin, is not going to get financed. And so we need to look at realizable projects where we can see the value that we're going to create. Organizational culture and inertia. So there's always a fight back from organizations in terms of change, and the idea that says I don't want to do anything that I haven't been doing is very strong in a lot of organizations. Added to that, we have what I call retirement-itis, because the senior people who are making the decision may not want to risk their pensions on a project that they don't understand. And so we need to be able to address that. We need to drive value-based use cases. So again, this whole idea of finding use cases that have value and that we have a very high capability of being able to realize are things that we need to look at. So we need to drive all digital twin development from specific use cases that we know are going to create value. Cohesion and integration. So right now we have sort of fragmented digital twins, and it's very tough to put together. We have a technological problem that we need to address in this particular area. And then finally, cyber security is a huge problem. We can't protect our physical assets behind walls, fences, and armed guards. When we move it into virtual space, it becomes a risk. And so we need to pay very, very close attention to this particular area. This is a very brief overview of digital twins, but I hope you found it useful, and my contact information is here.